All right, LSU football recruiting has been on fire lately. We didn't mention that Dakota Mitchell, the safety from South Florida, did decommit over the weekend, put out his top 5, had LSU in the mix back in it. But everybody buzzing around South Louisiana and around the state because of Walker Howard, the quarterback over at St. Thomas More. He's a class of 2022 commitment for the Tigers. His son or his dad was a standout in a couple of sports over at St. Thomas More. He was a pro prospect in baseball, drafted directly out of high school by the Braves, and came back to LSU where he was a starting quarterback from 92 to 95, threw 34 touchdowns and over 6,000 yards, and now his son is on his way to Baton Rouge in a couple of seasons after playing for the Cougars. Jamie Howard is back here with us on Off the Bench. It's always good to catch up with you. Thank you for the time. Good morning.
You got it, guys. How are you?
Doing good, man. I got to imagine that Friday was a pretty cool experience. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, it was pretty emotional. I didn't see the video. My son, he came up with the ideas, and so I kind of knew what it was going to be about. But when I saw it Friday, it was pretty emotional. It was fun too because I saw how excited he was. Yeah. It was a great day for our family.
What has this process been like for you? I know that we talked to you directly when he got the offer from LSU after going to the camp last summer, but just now that he's committed, what has this process up to this point been like for you, the dad?
It's been good. He's been handling it all. He would ask me questions. He talked to me about things, but it was really Walker handling and talking to the other coaches. I really never got involved. It's been easy for me. He made it easy.
Jamie, when did you have an idea that Walker was, maybe going to be good enough to command this sort of recruiting attention, and I guess just to get a big-time scholarship?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. I guess I'm pretty hard on him. I'm a little tough thinking, he wasn't going to be good enough. But, I think his 8th grade year, he did some things that kind of surprised me on the field, and I knew he had a really good arm, but he was a really good leader and had a great presence about him on the field. I thought he might have a chance because of that.
Wait, back to your previous answer. Is that difficult for you? Because, knowing you a bit, I know your personality. Is it difficult for you not to be involved in this process and letting him kind of handle this?
You know what? I think if when you get to know him, you'll understand it was easy for me because he's his own kid, and he's his own person. And, he comes to me with lots of questions now. It's not like I wasn't involved, but I wasn't directly from the coaches all the time. I was really just letting him handle it. I wanted to be more involved because I wanted him to see the things. I was worried that he would only want to go to LSU, and I wanted him to see other things. And at one point he asked me why I was pushing him away from LSU, and I told him I really wasn't. I just wanted him to experience everything else out there and see what he could. So I guess I was involved in the fact that we went and saw so many different places over the last 2 years.
After hearing his announcement and seeing that it was LSU, was it ever anywhere but LSU?
You know what? I thought it was. I'm just being honest with you. I thought that it was going to be maybe some of the schools in Texas until he dropped the bomb on my dad and I guess it was about a week ago, that he had no intentions of going anywhere but staying close to home and going to LSU. And that's when he said, why are you, I feel like you sometimes push me away. I was like, no, son, I just wanted you to see everything else. So that's when he really dropped the bomb. He kept it kind of close, didn't say much to me before that.
Wow. We're talking to Jamie Howard, his son Walker Howard, 2022 LSU quarterback commit, another top 100 quarterback commit. I think the first time that LSU's ever had back-to-back top 100 guys
from the state,
or at all lined up, and they're both from Louisiana. What about football talk, right? Outside of maybe Walker asking you about recruiting and how to navigate that, do y'all ever get into any kind of X's and O's talk? Like, does he pick your mind on how you used to handle these situations?
Yeah, so I think the major thing, we talk about football in general. When you're looking at schools, you look at, the people that are there, which is hard to judge because it changes so much, so quickly in football now. But also you look at their system, and that's why you'll see more and more kids, quarterbacks, committing to LSU because of what they're doing now offensively. Under Les, it was a completely different situation. You didn't help quarter. I think we've had this discussion before. You didn't help quarterbacks develop. You actually kind of held them back a little bit.
Yep.
And with this new system, man, it's exciting, and the kids are, Nussmeier is a great talent. I mean, you got so many talented kids over there, and what it's really good for is I'm proud of Walker. He's not afraid of the competition. I think Nussmeier's the same way. It makes everyone better when you have that many guys there competing, and you have a great system to make everyone better around you.
Jamie, have you had any contact with Scott Linehan since he joined this LSU staff?
I have not. No.
What has the recruitment been like from Ensminger? Because everybody talks about Brady, everybody talks about Orgeron, but the constant on this offense has been Ensminger. From somebody like you who recognizes good football and what it looks like, what's Ensminger's place from your point of view?
He's definitely involved. He's just a good guy, and he's not this big salesman guy. He doesn't do much, just talks to you like a normal guy. And that's where he fits in. And I'll tell you, from an excitement standpoint, there's no one better than Orgeron. There's no question he's the best recruiter in the country, and he gets everyone excited whenever you talk to him. And it's genuine. I said it the other day. It's so genuine because he's in the place he wants to be. It's a great thing to see when somebody's where they want to be. They've always wanted to be in the spot, and then they're having success. It's really fun to watch.
Does your experience as a starter in Baton Rouge still scare you for your experience on what your sons could be?
Sure.
Yeah.
No question. I probably didn't want him to go there because I didn't want him to have to deal with my mess, and I've said that before. But it's he's different. I think he knows exactly what he's getting himself into, and it doesn't bother him. So hopefully he'll have a great career. And one thing I will say is, no matter if he plays it down or not, he'll be an asset to the team. He's a great kid. He'll be a great teammate. I'll say that.
Have you allowed yourself to kind of daydream about what it's going to be like that first time when you're in Tiger Stadium and you see your son run out of the tunnel wearing an LSU jersey?
Yes, I have.
Bro, you're going to be a wreck.
I'm going to be a complete wreck. I mean, I'm going to have my doctor friends next to me, giving me medication if they're allowed to. Then, I have that stress already.
I mean, you're definitely going to have to be in a suite. There's no way you can be like in the open public with just hands swinging and what you're going to be seeing. From a quarterback standpoint, as a quarterback guy, what do you think he needs to work on over the next 2 years before he gets to college?
He's just going to get stronger. I mean, he's 184 pounds right now, 183 pounds. He's going to get stronger and more physical. Just learning the game. Every play you get to play on the field, you learn more. So it's more of just experience is all it needs.
It's great to catch up with you. Thank you for the time.
You got it, guys.
Thanks so much, Jamie.
There he is, Jamie Howard. His son, Walker Howard, committed to the program on Friday. A lot of excitement and buzz around his son for the class of 2022. Has yet to be a starter there, and this is something that we were talking about inside the studio, and there's been a ton of quarterback competition down at St. Thomas More, and Coach Hightower and his program have been developing those guys at a pretty rapid rate. When you talk about Caleb Holstein, who has been the quarterback for that program for the last 3 seasons, took him to a state championship game, set all types of records down there in Lafayette. Walker Howard, who's the sophomore backup, has yet to start a varsity game or play extended varsity time. He's been a contributor on that team, just not at the quarterback position. And then Eli Holstein, who we talked about last week with David Brewerton, was actually on the roster as a youngster because that's his brother, Caleb Holstein, who was the starter for the last couple of seasons. And I don't know if he kind of saw the writing on the wall or just wanted to get into an environment where he could play an extended amount of time. And, it was going to be Walker Howard's job at St. Thomas More for the next 2 seasons. Eli could have been maybe a 1-year starter after that, but now he's going to be a multiple-year starter at Zachary. But you talk about one school having all 3 of those guys on campus at the same time in quarterback competition. And now, with LSU, having so much interest. And if you speak to people around LSU that have invested interest in this recruitment of guys like Max Johnson, TJ Finley, Nussmeier, Walker Howard, Arch Manning, Eli Holstein, they'll tell you that Walker Howard at this point, right now, projects to possibly be the best out of all of them.
Well, and that's where it does get interesting. And there's something else we talked about during the break, which is what are there other positions besides quarterback in which you would offer a guy before he's ever played? Like sure that maybe if somebody's just an absolute physical freak and you're like, I don't know, but you think about like the Zadok Dinkelman and stuff back in the day and how that kind of went where you're maybe a little too early. So the belief that this LSU staff is showing in both Holstein and Howard to offer before they have a varsity start, I'm fascinated to see how will their evaluation hold up over time. But either way, congrats to both those kids. Super excited to watch them play this year. And, can't imagine what it would be like to have a son that is going to, commit to LSU to play quarterback. That'd be a great feeling. Congrats to Jamie.